Hello everybody, welcome to UK Gaming Network. I'm Brian and this is Best 10, where I'm going to be taking a look at the best music ever composed for the Commodore Amiga. Now, I'm not in any way suggesting that these are the best tunes on the console, because music is, after all, very subjective. I'm an old man that doesn't understand the appeal of the likes of rhythm and bass and techno, whereas the sound of a wailing guitar played by Phil Lynott can make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. What does baffle me though is how narrow-sighted people are when it comes to game music. Every year, at both the BAFTAs and the Jeffs, you can guarantee that all the games that are nominated will be the latest epic fantasy tunes from the latest epic fantasy game, not to diminish the likes of Elden Ring or Final Fantasy in any way. The most memorable music, for me at least, in the last few years, has come from games like Sonic Frontiers, Inertial Drift, and this year's Penny's Big Breakaway, whereas you will never see games like that getting nominated for anything. What follows is 10 of my choices for some of the greatest pieces of music on the Commodore Amiga. Some of these are for entirely personal reasons, and I can pretty much guarantee that you won't agree with all of my picks. I'd love to hear what yours are in the comments. I'm going to exclude music that came from other sources, such as arcade games, and stick to original compositions as well. Let's begin with one that I'm sure most are going to consider a bit of an oddball choice. Dave Lowe's music for IK Plus is never going to win any awards for originality, but I absolutely love it for a number of reasons. Firstly, it takes a special talent to write a piece of music that's going to play constantly in the background as you're playing the game, no matter how many hours you play it for, and to have that music never get old. There's also the fact that when I think of the genius of Archie McLean, I think of the way the title screen of this one draws itself in the time to the music. And then of course there's the fact that if I'm listening to this music, then I'm probably playing IK Plus, which is going to bring back all the memories of all those wasted afternoons with my friends where we used to just play this game for hours on end. There's no other way to say it other than it's simply iconic. It's not always the best games that have the best music. Not that I didn't enjoy the odd game of beach volley back in the day, but as sports games go, it has a serious longevity problem. Despite this, it was always a game that I would load up just to hear the superb intro music, especially after I'd connected up the sound through my hi-fi system. Composer Jean Baudelot, I hope I've pronounced that correctly, worked with Ocean France for many years, but would also go on to write the music for Future Wars, Cruise for a Corpse, and Flashback for Delphine software as well. Watching Cool Coyote bash out the theme music to this game on the title screen is a thing of unmitigated joy, and for me it just edges out the very similar Chuck Rock. The tune itself is an infectiously bouncy affair that really sets the mood perfectly for one of the Amiga's greatest platform games, and the way that the hero keeps breaking the fourth wall and glances at the player really sells his personality. Jason Page almost had 2 entries on this list, as his music for Graph Gold's Uridium 2 is completely different but equally impressive. Games developed by Magnetic Fields always began with a classical fanfare from Wagner, almost immediately followed by a fantastic piece of opening music as the game loaded. Barry Leach had previously written the music for Supercars 2, but it's his work on the Lotus sequel that's even better. There's just something about Leach's music that really suits racing games, and he's gone on to enliven the likes of Top Gear 2 and the recent Horizon series, which I would strongly recommend you seek out and play. While my disappointment over the actual game of Superfrog has been covered before on this channel, the one thing that I can't ignore is the quality of the soundtrack. I think that this stands as the best work that Alistair Brimble did for the Amiga, recapturing the days that he spent writing music for Dizzy games and adding everything that he had learned from Alien Breed and Project X. There's great variety here, capturing the themes of each of the game's worlds, but the real standout is the remixed version of the Project X music that accompanies the Project F bonus stage much later on in the game, which is truly wonderful. Games by the Bitmap brothers are known for their excellent music as much as they are for their graphics and gameplay. Their collaborations with Bomb the Bass and Rhythm King Records actually led to the formation of publisher Renegade. Both Xenon 2 and Magic Pockets featured licensed soundtracks, but of all their original compositions, I think Gods just edges out Speedball 2 and the Chaos Engine. In fact, the entirety of Gods is an audio showcase for the Amiga, full stop.
Into the wonderful, into the wonderful, into the wonderful, into the wonderful.
Agony has a soundtrack with a large number of names on the track list, many of whom are featured in this list already. But it's the theme music by Psygnosis regular Timothy Wright that really stands out the most. The Shadow of the Beast composer really excels himself with this haunting piano medley that, if I'm being honest, feels like it belongs in a different game, but it almost makes you not want to skip it by pressing the fire button to start your game. I complain a lot in the Retro Game Super League videos about the number of Amiga games that force players to choose between music or sound effects. It's incredibly frustrating, and anytime I hear somebody say that it just wasn't possible, I'll point to the Turrican series. Chris Hulsbeck is one of those names that as soon as you see it attached to any Amiga game, you know at least the audio is going to be great. The entire soundtracks to Turrican 1 and 2 are fantastic, but the one piece of music that stands out that I can still hear, even when I'm not playing the game, comes from the opening level of the sequel. As far as I'm concerned, this is one of the unsung classics of the Amiga era. Everything about Battle Squadron, from the graphics to the gameplay to the excellent soundtrack, would sit comfortably inside of an arcade. Ron Claren, who composed the music, worked primarily within the demo scene, but he at least has this and the 1990 run-and-gun shooter The Plague to his name. Based on this game alone, I'd really have liked to see what he could have done, given the opportunity to do more games, as this is a major contributing factor to how much I love this game. If you've watched any of the live streams on our channel, chances are that you'll have heard the music from the first level of Jim Power, as I use it quite regularly on the wait screen before a stream starts. It's another Chris Hulsbeck masterpiece that actually improves the game, in my opinion, with a memorable, catchy melody that you won't be able to get out of your head. I'd actually rank it as one of the best pieces of music ever written for a video game, alongside such classics as Outrun and Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Why not let me know your favourite pieces of music for the Amiga in the comments? I'm also taking suggestions for the subjects for future videos in the Best 10 series. I'll pick my favourites from the suggestions and then let the channel members vote as to which one comes next. So thank you for watching this video, hope you enjoyed it, happy retro gaming, bye for now.